Yeah, dear student, today we start chapter 4 of third book, Analysis of Financial Statement, and today we start chapter 4, that is Accounting Ratios. So before starting accounting ratio, I would like to remind you about the one circular issued by the CBSE, in which though I taught you the balance sheet, but following points are not required to be evaluated or will not come in your exam. So what are those? Reserve and surplus. So under it, security premium reserve will come, but revaluation reserve, share option, outstanding other reserve are not to be evaluated. However, general reserve can be evaluated. Evaluated means it will come to your exam. Money received against share warrants, share application money pending allotment, deferred tax liability. You have to just study the theory, nothing else. Other long-term liabilities, intangible asset, masthead and publishing title, copyright, patent and other intellectual property rights, service and operating right and license and franchises are not to be evaluated. Clear? Capital work in progress. This means any flyover or highway under construction need not to be evaluated. Intangible assets under development like copyright, trademark, patent, softwares, any vaccine, all comes under intangible asset under development. Deferred tax asset. So deferred tax asset means when your business income is lesser than taxable income. That thing is called deferred tax asset. Other non-current asset, all fictitious asset will come under it. So these are not supposed to be evaluated. Cash and cash equivalents, earmarked balances with banks held as margin money of security against borrowing, guarantees, other commitment and bank deposit in more than 12-month maturity are not to be evaluated. I mean, this will not come in your syllabus. And treatment of unamortized expenses. So besides the other item, these are the few items which are not supposed to be evaluated, means will not come in your exam. But while studying the balance sheet, you should have a look about these. You must know these terms. You must have the basic idea about these terms. So that's why I'm reminding. Accounting treatment of other current asset is restricted to prepaid expenses, accrued income and advance tax only, nothing else. So meaning of the ratio. Ratio is an mathematical expression of the relationship between two interdependent or related items. Ratios, when calculated on the basis of accounting information, are called accounting ratios. Accounting ratio may be expressed as arithmetical relationship between two accounting variables. Clear? So ratio analysis is a technique of financial statement analysis. It is the most widely used tool to interpret quantitative relationship between two variables of the financial statements. Expression of ratio. So accounting ratio can be expressed in any of the following term. Pure, it is expressed as quotient. For example, current ratio, which expresses the relationship between current asset and current liability, say 2. Current ratio equals to current assets upon current liabilities. For example, 2 lakh divided by 1 lakh. So ratio is 2, or you can say alternatively you can also say it is 2:1. Percentage, some ratios are expressed in percentages. For example, net profit ratio, which relate the net profit to revenue from operation, that is net sale. Formula is net profit ratio is equal to net profit upon revenue from operation, that is net sale, into 100, say 25%, times, it is expressed in number of a times of a particular figure is when compared to the another figure. For example, trade payables turnover ratio, which shows the relationship between net credit purchases and average trade payable, is say 4 times. In this way it is done. Fraction, some ratios are expressed in fraction. For example, ratio of fixed asset to share capital is say 3/4, that is 0.75. You can also say like this. Ratio sometimes may be expressed in terms of days also. For example, average collection period is 73 days, 60 days, 50 days, whatever is according to your debt collection period. Ratio analysis is a study of relationship among various financial factors in a business, said by Myers. Ratio analysis is the process of determining and interpreting relationship between the items of financial statement to provide a meaningful understanding of the performance and financial position of an enterprise. Thus, it is a technique of analyzing the financial statement by computing ratios. Now, objective or advantages of ratio analysis. Ratio analysis serves the purpose of various users who are interested in the financial statement. It simplifies, summarizes, and systematizes the figures in the financial statement. The objective of ratio analysis can be better understood from the following advantages of ratio analysis. First, useful in analysis of financial statement. Accounting ratios are useful for understanding the financial position of an enterprise. Bankers, investors, creditors, etc. all analyze the balance sheet and statement of profit and loss using ratios. Useful in simplifying accounting data. Accounting ratio simplifies, summarize, and systematize accounting data to make it understandable. Its main contribution lies in communicating precisely the interrelationship which exists between various elements of financial statement. Useful in assessing the operating efficiency of business. Accounting ratios are useful for assessing the financial health and performance of an enterprise. It is assessed by evaluating liquidity, solvency, profitability, etc. Useful for forecasting. Ratios are helpful in business planning and forecasting. Trend ratios are analyzed and used as guide to future planning. What should be that course of action in the immediate future is decided. Many times on the basis of trend ratios, that is, ratios are calculated for a number of years. Useful in locating the weak areas. Accounting ratio assists in locating the weak areas of the business even though the overall performance may be good. The management can then pay attention to the weakness and take remedial action. Useful in inter-firm and intra-firm comparison. A firm would like to compare its performance with that of the other firms and of industry in general. The comparison is called inter-firm comparison. If the performance of different units belonging to the same firm is to be compared, it is called intra-firm comparison. Accounting ratios make the comparison simple. Limitations of ratio analysis. Ratio analysis is a powerful tool in assessing the strength and weakness of an enterprise. It may also have certain limitations. False result. Ratios are calculated from the financial statement. So the reliability of the ratio and its analysis dependent upon the correctness of financial information statement. If the financial statements are not true and fair, the analysis will give a false picture of the affairs of the business. So it is very necessary while doing the ratio analysis to have an exact information which is to be used for the analysis of the financial statement. Qualitative factors are ignored. Ratio analysis is a technique of quantitative analysis and ignores the qualitative factor which may be important in decision making. Lack of standard ratio. There is almost no single standard ratio which the ratio may be measured and compared. May not be comparable. Ratios may not be comparable. Different firms follow different accounting policies and procedures. For example, one firm may follow straight line method of depreciation while another may follow diminishing balance method. So this may happen. Price level changes are not considered. Change in price level affect the comparability of the ratios, but price level changes are not considered in accounting variable from which ratios are compared. This handicaps the utility of accounting ratios. Window dressing. Ratios may be affected by window dressing. Manipulation of accounts is a way to conceal the vital fact and present the financial position better than what it actually is. On account of such a situation, presence of particular ratio may not be definite indicator of good or bad management. Personal bias. Personal judgment play an important role in preparing financial statement, and therefore the accounting ratios are also not free from this limitation. The ratio may have to be interpreted, but different people may interpret the same ratio in different ways. So this also happens. Now classification or types of ratios. First is liquidity ratio. These ratios show the ability of the enterprise to meet its short-term financial obligation. Important liquidity ratios are current ratio and quick ratio. Solvency ratio. These ratios are calculated to assess the long-term financial position of the enterprise. Solvency means ability of the enterprise to meet its long-term financial obligation. That is liabilities. Important solvency ratios are debt to equity ratio, total asset to debt ratio, proprietary ratio, and interest coverage ratio. Third is activities ratios or turnover ratios. These ratios show how efficiently a company is using its resources. Important activity ratios are inventory or stock turnover ratio, trade receivable turnover ratio, trade payables turnover ratio, and working capital turnover ratio. Next and last is profitability ratios. Profitability of a firm can be measured by its profitability ratios. Important profitability ratios are gross profit ratio, operating ratio, operating profit ratio, net profit ratio, and ROI, return on investment. So first we are going to study liquidity ratio. Liquidity of the business refers to the firm's ability to meet its current obligation, that is short-term liabilities. Liquidity ratios are those ratios which come computed to evaluate the capability of the entity to meet its short-term liabilities. Commonly used liquidity ratios are: first is current ratio. So current ratio is a liquidity ratio that measures the ability of the enterprise to pay its short-term financial obligation, that is current liabilities. It is a relationship of current assets and current liabilities. Current ratio indicates whether the enterprise will be able to meet its short-term financial obligation when they become due for payment. Thus, current ratio is a measurement of the financial health of the enterprise. Short-term financial health of an enterprise is measured through current ratio. The formula for calculating the current ratio is very simple. That is, current ratio is equals to current assets upon current liabilities. See, one box is given depicting you about the current assets and current liabilities. So what are current assets? Are the assets that are either in the form of cash or cash equivalents, or can be converted into cash or cash equivalents within 12 months from the date of the balance sheet, or within the period of operating cycle. They are shown under that current assets in the balance sheet. They include current investments, inventories excluding loose tools, stores and spares, trade receivable, bills receivable and sundry debtors less provision for doubtful debts, cash and cash equivalent, cash in hand, cash at bank, checks, draft in hand, etc. Short-term loans and advances, other current asset, prepaid expenses, interest receivable, etc. What are current liabilities? Are the liabilities repayable within the 12 months from the date of balance sheet or within the period of operating cycle. They are shown under the head current liabilities in the balance sheet. They include short-term borrowing, trade payable, bills payable and sundry creditors. Other current liabilities, current maturities of long-term debts, interest accrued but not due on borrowings, interest accrued and due on borrowings, outstanding expenses, unclaimed dividend, calls in advance, etc. Okay. And short-term provision. So as per CBSE guidelines circular number academic 43/2013 dated 2nd July 2000, other current asset except prepaid expenses, accrued income and advance tax are not to be evaluated. Therefore, the illustration and question do not include other current assets other than prepaid expense, accrued income and advance tax. Now, what are current liabilities and current assets as defined in the Schedule 3rd of the Companies Act 2013? Current liabilities. It is expected to be settled in the company's normal operating cycle, or it is held primarily for the purpose of being traded. It is due to be settled within 12 months after the reporting date, or the company does not have an unconditional right to defer settlement of the liability for at least 12 months after the reporting date. So these are the current liabilities. Now what are the current assets, which we are also going to see? Current assets are those assets which fulfill any of the following criteria. It is expected to be realized in or is intended for sale or consumption in the company's normal operating cycle, or it is held primarily for the purpose of being traded, or it is expected to be realized within 12 months after the reporting date, or it is cash and cash equivalent unless it is exempt from being exchanged or used to settle a liability for at least 12 months after the reporting date. So this is the classification of assets and liabilities. Operating cycle. An operating cycle is the time between acquisition of asset for processing and their realization into cash and cash equivalents. When the normal operating cycle cannot be identified, it is assumed to be a period of 12 months. Now, it has to be always kept in mind that provision for doubtful debt is deducted from trade receivable for calculating current ratio to ascertain the realizable value of the trade receivable. The standard for acceptable current ratio differ from industry to industry. However, generally accepted standard of current ratio is 2:1. That is, current assets should be twice of the current liabilities. The current ratio below 1 indicates that the current liabilities of the enterprise are greater than its current ratio assets. It indicates the enterprise would be able to meet its short-term financial obligation if they become due on that date. It also indicates that the enterprise is not in good financial health. On the other hand, current ratio above 1 indicates that current liabilities of the enterprise lower than its current asset. It indicates that the enterprise would be able to meet its short-term financial obligation if they becomes due on that date. High current ratio means better liquidity position, but a very high current ratio reflects poor operational efficiency. It may indicate that a stock might be piling up due to poor sales. Large amount is locked in trade receivable due to poor collection policy, and cash and bank balance are lying idle because of poor cash management. So this is the reason. Now, objective and significant. The objective of calculating current ratio is to assess the ability of the enterprise to meet its short-term financial obligation, that is current liabilities. It is a ratio computed to assess short-term solvency of the enterprise as on date when current ratio is computed. It shows the number of time current assets are of current liabilities. Now see, one example is given from the following compute current ratio. Trade receivable are given, debtors 1 lakh, prepaid expenses 10,000, cash and cash equivalent 30,000, short-term investment, machinery. And on the liability side is bills payable, sundry creditor, debentures. Debentures are long-term liability, so it will not be included. Stock and expense payable. So first we find out the current asset. So trade receivable, sundry debtors plus prepaid expenses plus cash and cash equivalent plus short-term investment plus a stock. Total is 2 lakh. Current liabilities are trade payable, bills payable plus sundry creditors plus expense payable. So that is 1 lakh. Clear? So after adding, we can easily put these two data in the formula. So formula of the current ratio is current assets upon current liabilities. So current ratio is current assets are 2 and current liabilities are 1 lakh. Divide 2 lakh by 1 lakh, the ratio is 2:1, or you can also quote it as a Q. In this way, current ratios are calculated.